Yeah, it's good. Rich is one of our clients, so it's good that he's joining this webinar. It's one of the things we teach actually as part of our coaching programs is how to actually run effective webinars. So hopefully we are effective today, Richard. Give us a score. Give us a score afterwards. The most important thing about webinars is, Richard, this is your takeaway, and anyone else that's listening, is it allows you to actually build up a lot of good collateral for your landing pages, where you can reuse the actual collateral to cut it down and actually repurpose it into emails, into LinkedIn posts and everything else that goes with it for your customers. So it's not just about trying to get a hook at the end. It's about getting online, educating people, building trust over a period of time, but also taking that content and repurposing it as much as possible. And that's the real powerful thing about these webinars. You normally get about 15 to 30% people who attend a webinar, but the open rate and the the replay goes up dramatically as well. So there's a lot of good positives that come out of webinars, and a lot of our clients we coach. For everyone else, we are a big believer in the webinars process. PJ, is it right if I just kick off and start?
Yeah, you can kick off introductions. That's fine. No problem.
Great. Fantastic. So hi, everyone. My name's Ian Markram, and I'm one of the founders of Loading Growth. PJ is the general manager of Loading Growth. We have about 20 people in total in our business. We've got a few people from our business online on the call today as well. They will drop in the chat for you folks that are on Teams most of the time. There is a chat functionality on Zoom, just like Teams. You will see there, we'll be dropping things in there, links to join our Facebook group, things also around booking follow-up meetings if there's anything else you want to take further or have a further discussion or get clarity on, those type of things. They'll be dropping in. If there's any questions, just drop them in to the chat if you would like, or we're going to keep this really personable. Just jump out and just say, hey, stop in. I would love a bit more clarity around that point, or a bit more deeper around that. So please, don't hold back. Make sure you get as much from the session as possible. Before we start, though, I just want to go through, what we're about and who we are, and give some context into, what we do as an organization. It's really important to sort of share what we do and where people can basically get help if they need it. We're really passionate about our community. And at the end of the day, we are not just a coaching business. We do have up to sort of 30 clients at a time with coaching, and that's been fantastic, and that's really good. We've got this process here where we actually end up doing the coaching in this area here. What we end up here is, obviously, this is the coaching section. This is where I end up with most of my time, 95% of my time is in the Loading Growth area. What we have on this side, folks, is what we call the ITVA component of the business, which PJ and Ange, our operations manager in Philippines, runs. This is for people that need to be basically looked after and need help around a VA or a personal assistant at a really affordable price. One of the biggest challenges we see in the marketplace when we talk to our clients is around, leveraging. How do we leverage, and how do we get help at an affordable price? It's too expensive to do it in Australia. And, you're getting an admin person at $90,000 with all the extras on top. It's quite expensive. You can get someone at, a third of the price in Philippines doing the work. We do that for most of our clients as well. So they do things like VAs, webinars, a little of the marketing agency type stuff. We don't make much money out of it. It's really for the community that we bring along and the coaching clients. And that's really, really powerful to get involved in. We've also got other solutions and tech solutions that actually help you folks accelerate your growth. So we've got a lot of coaching videos and content, and we do a lot of sessions like this. But at the end of the day, really important, we have an underlying solution that actually helps you, grow and accelerate. And we've got a whole lot of tech solutions that we have, and we call those the IMA and the IMA stable. So you've got three components of the business, as I was sort of explaining here. The thing with the business is we've got a community that's really strong. And in that community, I see it as this is where you folks live. And, it's all about us servicing you here. So we've got you covered in multiple areas, and that's really important. We IT services coaching, and we do that day in and day out. And we are really, really passionate about this area. So that's probably a bit of enough on what we do. Let's sort of jump into, I suppose, the next thing that's more important is really how to keep you guys learning more and more. There's a few areas. There will be a place, Harry, to drop in, or one of the team members will drop in the link to the workbook. In there, you'll find a URL to join our Facebook group. We put a lot of content out there. You can join us on YouTube, on LinkedIn, or at the bottom here, you can do a strategy call. Just book in there if you want to further follow up on any topic around your IT services business. Really important to have a look at that. In this area here, as I said, it's LinkedIn. You can follow us here, and you can actually join us, follow here and join us here, if that makes sense. Pretty basic stuff, just some of the social media things we do around putting the content out there, making sure you guys keep on learning all the time. Now, when people are engaged, people just want to know where they fit. And this is the last slide before we get onto the preloaded calendar. Right, we have the boardroom, which is our top tier. You've got to do at least $3 million a year, and high performing teams or a leadership team in that place getting involved in the boardroom. We call it, that's a program. It's very personalized. I spend a lot of my time, probably like 30% of my time on the boardroom program. The Everest program is where you're at. It's a monthly retainer. You have an opportunity to love or leave it. So if you don't love it after 3 months, you can jump off. But you need to have a team of about 5, to 20 people. All right. And then we've got the clients program, which PJ runs. And that's really around people that are, need to get about sort of self-motivation, bring a team together and make sure that they can grow their team from 0 to 5 people and above. So maturity is very low. They're really around, just doing the basics in survival mode and trying to get clients. And that's why the program is called the Clients Program. So you're probably struggling to get clients at that level. You're a smaller firm and you just want maybe one single founder, maybe 2 people. You've just become contractors and you're working and you want to solidify that business and set it up and get their foundations right. So it sort of moves in this category. You start up, obviously at this level, you move up that level and that level. And what we try and do over that period of the accelerator program is make sure that you all are growing your businesses and making sure you get equity back to you as a shareholder and earning the right type of money to make this a real viable job. Okay, that's really us in a nutshell. PJ, anything I should mention to the team before we jump on and get going?
Just the next thing is up that we developed this IT service roadmap scorecard that we've just released. So they'll be the first members to have a crack at it. We spent a long time doing this. So it's free for you guys to jump on to see where you guys are at. So I think that's important to get that underway. And then obviously the last thing is what we're doing with our boardroom and members in March. And then we're getting cracking in today's session.
Brilliant. Yeah. So the roadmap, it's something that we use as a maturity map for our clients when they come on board and we go through it in detail with them. We've actually now going to release it as an assessment. So that's really powerful. The next thing is the March Intensive. I really want to talk about this, folks. You're all invited. The only criteria you have to be is an IT services firm. That's the only criteria. So if you've come onto these events and what we've realized is we've got a lot of these people that attend these events and watch the replays, and we love that. And we want to make sure that we can actually help you guys get onto one of the programs, get comfortable with one of the programs and see the success that our other clients are actually achieving. So we run these events 3 times a year. The last one was in March last year. It's the 29th and the 30th of March. It's going to be via Zoom. It's 8 to 11 Sydney time. We've got guest speakers throughout the globe coming on to have a discussion around leadership, around presenting. It's around running your finances or procurement or anything that we think we need for scaling your business. Please, you're welcome to come, but you've got to get an invite. So reach out to Harry or at E12 at loadinggrowth.com, or just send a message now in chat that you would like an invite, and one of the team will send you the invite when we send out the invites. It's only invite only, so we just got to make sure your IT services consultancy firm, really important, because that's what the 2 half days are all about. You get to meet our community, you see where they're going and what they're doing, and it's really powerful and it's awesome from that perspective. All right, now let's crack on to the preloaded calendar. And why it's important to talk about the preloaded calendar is one of the biggest challenges we see with a lot of our clients is they just don't have the time to execute on anything. They blame time, and rather being super positive and actually using time as an accelerator or as a weapon, they basically use time as an excuse. And what I learned quite a few years back from one of the coaches that PJ and I get coaching from is around the preloaded calendar. It's phenomenal. And I'll give you an example. You're going to see my preloaded calendar coming up in the next couple of slides. We locked in my calendar for season 23. We call it season 23. We locked the calendar in basically in December last year for the whole of this year. Okay, so about 80-90% of the stuff is actually in there, locked in. We refine it every month or so. We look at the calendar, we refine it, we upgrade it. Now, it's really important because people just can't execute on things. You know, it's sort of like going to gym in the morning, you know, every morning. If you get into routine after, 3 or 4 months, you're likely to keep that up. If you don't do that, you just fall by the wayside. So just a couple of tips before we get going on the preloaded calendar. Print out the calendar. They're going to drop a spreadsheet in there. Hopefully, Harry, if you can just drop the spreadsheet in there. That spreadsheet is for the calendar year for 23. Use that calendar year. Put that information in that calendar. Make sure that you use that calendar and you actually refine that calendar. Honestly, put half a day down in the next week or two to complete the calendar. So what I'm going to do today is give you the tools to use the calendar and the reasons why. And then I would love you to go away and do the work and make sure that you execute on it. Now, it's really important. I use a calendar for myself personally. We've got a company calendar and we've got a marketing calendar. So we've got 3 calendars sort of all blended in. And it's really important. Do not do this on Outlook. Everyone goes, well, I'm just going to do this on Outlook. And before you know it, you just run out of time. I'm going to show you why you've got to do it on the spreadsheet. Okay, so what I would like you guys to do quickly on a piece of paper, okay, or a notepad or an iPad or whatever you got, I just want to write down 3 headings. What you got to continue doing. So think about 2022. Review quickly on 2022. I'm going to do this really. I want to just go. I'm not going to do this over 30 minutes because we just don't have that much time. I'm going to do it over 15 minutes. Okay, I would love you guys to write down quickly 3 headings, maybe on 3 pages. What you got to continue, right? That you should do in 23, that you basically, were doing in 22 that was well and good, received, that it worked, okay? Then you're going to write down all the things you need to stop doing. Could be things like micromanaging, attending too many meetings, all the things that you don't free yourselves up to accelerate and leverage other people and grow your business. So anything that you should stop doing. Maybe it's stop doing, 100% billable. Maybe it's I've got to be 50% billable. So I can actually free myself up to win more work or deliver more, package solutions to my clients. That's really important as well. Okay. The other thing is around starting. So what didn't you do in 2022 that you need to do basically in 23? Okay. Really, really important. I'm going to just get you guys to do that. Well, I'll just quickly have a look at something. I'm just going to mute you guys for a second, making sure that you all guys are quiet. We're going to run the clock. So PJ, could you just run for 15 minutes? We're going to do 5 minutes for continue. We're going to do 5 minutes for stop, 5 minutes for start. And we're going to jump on that piece of paper, write it all up. It's really important to do this for those 15 minutes. Okay. All right. PJ, got the time there?
All good. Yep.
All right. Let's crack on doing that activity, guys. It's good to do this now to get a feel for it. You're going to go away and do more of it in your personal time. But I can't get this to work if I don't get you to do something at least in the session. And it's about activating you guys and getting you guys going. So hopefully that helps. All right, go for it.
Right, Ian.
Great, thanks, PJ. So I did this exercise last week with a leadership team, and it's quite amazing to see the outcome. Did it over a day and a half in between a few other activities I was running. And we then jumped on a call on Tuesday night to see the outcome. And it's quite amazing how everyone's calendars personally had reflected their new preloaded calendar and how much free time they were actually doing. The problem with calendars, folks, is if you see an opportunity to book something in with one of your colleagues or staff members, you'll just do it. But really, there's no agenda, there's no meaning, outcomes, and it ends up just weighing down from what the person's responsibilities are. So you've got to be really lethal on what you're trying to achieve against your role and responsibilities. Really important. So, in this scenario, last week, we came up with a nickname to call each other in the leadership team, is this XYZ? And which was the safety word of saying that this is no longer required, or someone else can be part of the meeting, or delegate this, or have it as a one-on-one discussion some other time. So really important to be lethal around your calendar, line that up against your KPIs or the metrics or your business plan, whatever it is around your business to make sure you achieve it. That's really, really important. This sets you free. The only way you can execute is have time set aside to execute. And that's one of those things that you're going to start doing around the BHAG. Okay, so let's quickly finish it off. Things like what always comes up, stop micromanaging, stop being involved with decisions where you don't need to be, stop having needless meetings, all these type of things. If you start to think about all that, there's a lot of ton of stuff, probably about 20-30% time we free up in calendars when we talk to our clients one-on-one and we go through this exercise. So it's really important to start to be lethal on that. Even if you're a one-man show, just say, hey, we can leave that little fire going on the side. It's not going to burn the house down. When it does get big enough, I will go and attend that fire. I've got little fires all over the place. I've just got to work on the most important thing that's going to change the business as much as possible. Okay. The other thing is, planning is not one-dimensional, right? So you've got to think a bit about, how you incorporate the plan with everything else, all right? It's all integrated, all right? So this plan you have is not only work, it's personal. Put your relationships in there. So if you've got date nights, if you've got special weddings or holidays you want to do, we're going to go through this, but more, make sure they're in there, all right? And make sure that you've got those times set aside for key friendships you want to keep on and working with in the personal side. Because if you don't have them there, guess what's going to happen? You're going to forget about them, or you're going to pitch up the wrong minute, a wrong time of the day, and you're not going to actually meet those expectations of someone else. It's really important to make sure that you look after yourself personally, your health, relationships, all these type of things. It's hell of important. Okay. The best way to predict your future, as I say, is create it. Okay. Your future is your past. That's another true saying. So if you do not change anything, 2022 is going to be very similar to 23. I see this all the time. When people come on and they do a discovery call with me and they say, we're going to do this, and they don't come on, that's cool. I don't mind as a coaching client, but I keep all the information. And when they come on 2 years later, I'll look at the numbers. I'll search the notes in our system. I'll have a discussion and go, wow, Jeff, we spoke 2 years ago. I'm just reviewing the notes. I bet you probably haven't changed much. I bet you're roughly at the same amount of turnover, profit margin. He goes, how do you know? I said, well, look, this is what happens 90% of the time. Your past is your future. So how do you actually stop that? Well, you've got to put a fundamental shift in the future. You've got to take charge of your future, and you've got to define your future yourselves. And that's why that's important, the preload calendar. All right. So on a piece of paper, what you really want to do as well is another way to do it is you can actually have, the three headings we spoke about. You can say the continue, the start, if you want, and you can say stop. Just a little bit of a framework. And you can actually just write them down here, and it actually becomes a bit more graphical, a little bit easier to see rather than just writing down on a piece of paper like that with different headings. So it depends on how you folks want to work. Sometimes writing this up on a whiteboard, just leaving it there for 4 or 5 days, mulling over all the things you're doing, look through your calendar, what you've done in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Oh my gosh, I should stop that. I should really stop that. I really should continue that. Or I should start doing something else to actually change the game. And when we go through this process, one of the things that you really want to look at is a big saying is cash flow follows your calendar. So when people come to me and go, hey, Ian, like our numbers aren't right at the moment. Okay, well, what were you doing 90 days ago or 120 days ago? And you look at the calendar, you say, open your calendar, let's have a look. And you look at the calendar on Outlook, and there's just like arbitrary things that were not generating revenue. And this is one of the big challenges we see when we're talking to our clients, is they're not actually generating revenue. So cash flow follows your calendar. So if you're not doing stuff now, 3 months, 2-3 months down the line, you're going to have a shortage around sales converting. All right. So that's important. So make sure you've got activity, the sales activities in your calendar. Think once, as I said this over and over again, so nice to activate. They've done a lot of stats around psychology tests and everything else worldwide. And something like 60 to 70% of people need a plan to execute. And if you don't have a plan, they can't execute. They get caught up in the noise, in the mud. And that's the biggest problem entrepreneurs actually have is, the new shiny syndrome. When clients come and work with us, and we work out the business plan for the next, 6 months, 12 months, and a year, and then they put their hands in the cookie jar and say, Ian, we've got to go and do this. We've got to do this new service or this new product. I slap them in the hands and say, hey, mate, that's not part of the plan. So we can change the plan, but there's a process to change it. I'm going to have to verify it. And there is a reason why we do this. So we want to think once, so we get into rhythm to execute. You get into rhythm, your team around you gets into rhythm, and you get great results. And that's really, really important. Rhythm is everything. Okay. The other thing is you've got to have milestones. Certain places you have milestones to make cash, and cash is king. All right. We do a whole lot of work on profit first for our clients, and it's all about making profit. There's no way around it. If you're not paying yourself a good wage and your business is not healthy, we've got to fix it. We've got to fix it ASAP, because 2-3 years down the line, you're not going to be a happy person. You're going to be grumpy within your own business, and you're going to have resentful, and you're going to be really, really pissed off of why hell am I doing all these extra hour weeks? I'm working 80-hour weeks. And at some point, you're just going to give up. And that happens all the time. I see it day in, day out. So we've got to think about profit first, and we've got to think about generating real money to actually grow your business. And that's what we run a real tight process around that. And PJ actually coaches that component. We've got to do a stress test, guys. What we're going to do right now is we're going to show you how to develop this calendar. The first thing humans do, though, they overcommit. Hey, I'm there as well. I do the same all the time. We can do so much in 40 hours. No, we can't. We need downtime. We're going to get sick. Our kids are going to get sick. Our partner's going to get sick. Something's going to happen in your business, and it's not perfect. The world's not perfect. All right. So really, at the end of the day, we've got to stress test your calendar to make sure it's realistic, so you don't end up killing yourselves and getting too involved in the calendar and to a point where you set yourself up for failure. We've got to stress test the calendar to make sure we get the results that we want in our business plan. Very important around that. And then we've got to work the plan. It's no point just coming up with this amazing calendar, all right, on a spreadsheet, which has been dropped in the online there. If you guys haven't, just reach out to the team and ask for the spreadsheet. This spreadsheet, you're going to mull over it for a couple of weeks. Once you got it right, you're going to start to put it into your Outlook calendar or your Google calendar. And then we're going to live and breathe the actual plan to make sure we get what we want out of the plan. Really important, okay? If you do not set yourselves up for success, folks, you're not going to get there, all right? I can't say that enough. All right, so let's just get on to the things that should matter to you and your business, all right? What are the big rocks? What are the big things that are going to make your business successful and make you successful? So it could be a money thing. It could be freeing yourself up. So some people, believe it or not, want to free themselves up. Hey, I think it's a great idea. Let's not kill ourselves. Let's not, we're not going to sell this business in 5 or 10 years' time. We want to keep this business going forever, or as long as possible. Maybe it's 1 day a week I give up, or 1 day a fortnight I give up initially, and make sure the business works around that. But I can only do that if I have a proper plan and a proper calendar to get that run. So every second week is a good way to start off. It's a Monday or a Friday. We talk to our clients around that to get their mojo back, to get their energy back. Hell of important, really, really important, and having those free days. It could then be 1 day every week, or 1 day a month, or 1 day a quarter, whatever it is. It could be something that you want to go and do personally, play golf, go for fish, just go and have a long weekend with your partner. Could be something like that. The other thing is really important. It all starts with clients, folks. You don't have a consultancy business if you don't have anyone to consult to. Okay, so if you don't have clients, we've got to change that. And if you don't have enough clients, we've got to change that. And that's what the first program that we have at the bottom there, which I showed you right at the beginning, is the clients program. If you've got a challenge around that, just jump onto that program and PJ will look after you. Okay, really important to look at that. But how many clients do you need in your business? Is it, by the end of the year, 5 new clients? Or is it maybe, 10? Depends on how big the clients are. It depends how big you are and how much revenue on average deal size or revenue you get for each client. So that's what you've got to work out in your business plan. I'm just going to give you a bit of tips around there. And then think about end of next year. Put that down as well. It should be part of your business plan. That we've been through this business plan quite a few times. There are recordings out there. If you want to get that business plan recording, put that into the chat and someone will send you to the business plan that we've done for free for clients as well, to make sure that you get some of that stuff as well. But the important thing, everyone, is what I really love about this preloaded calendar is comes December this year, you actually take this, you review the calendar for 24 and it's lifted and shift. You've done it in like a couple of hours. It's that quick. Your team knows where, like when I do this with clients, the whole client leadership team has a company calendar. They know when they're doing the QBRs or the breakout sessions, or when they're doing, attending the marketing events, whatever it is. There's all these things already in there. They know which part to play as a team to get the outcome that they've signed up for that calendar year. Hell of important. Gives transparency. You work out the frequency of what you got to do, who's responsible for what, okay, and how to make the money, which is really important. I don't want to sound like it's all about money, but unfortunately, if you don't have money, you will become tired and disillusioned with your business. Okay, so you've got to have a healthy business, just like you've got to be healthy yourself as a person. Otherwise, you won't operate. And your staff, you won't be able to hire staff if you don't have a healthy business, because you won't feel energized and you won't bring, that core message across to them, and they won't be excited to join up. The next thing is there, folks. So you got to write some stuff down. The big rocks, builder is really about the big rocks. What can we actually do? Now, some of these things might not be in your area. All right. Doesn't matter. Come up with 3 or 4 or 5 different things that you think have to be your number one focus that's going to flick the change in your role in the business that you're working at. Okay, really important to do that. So you could be a marketing person. Oh, I want to do 10 campaigns this year. I want to get X amount of MQLs, marketing qualified leads. I want to get this, that. Those are the things you can put in there. It doesn't have to be just for the business owners. It can be everyone in the team. It's the principle works the same. Okay. The next thing is really around the Pebble Planner. Now, hell of important to think about that. The Pebble Planner, and then it's the sand snapshot. These are the last 2 things that we've got to actually map out. Right? And I'm a big believer in this. You know, you get 4 weeks a year on holiday. Make sure you use them. Make sure you organize where you're going on holiday. You make sure what you're going to achieve in that holiday. You want to make sure we only live in once. Let's put the effort into enjoy that holiday. So let's get that holiday in there. Let's put that holiday in the planner. Let's put the duration. Now, hey, I don't know, sometimes what I'm doing in December this year, for example. I'm going to, we booked into Club Med that we booked into overseas, and we're meeting some of our family there in December. I haven't even got the flights organized because the flights haven't been released. I don't even know what we're going to do before the holiday or after the holiday, but I've just booked out a time, right? I've sat down with my wife, had a discussion, bang, we locked that in. My company knows, all the team around me knows where my holiday is. So they know what they need before that holiday arrives. That's what you call effective planning, okay? So just think about things like that. It could be other personal things, anything that you could deliver. Anything that you got to deliver. I always put holiday up there because for me, it's something that's good. And a lot of people love that to think about, what are the things they want to go and do, destinations, all those type of things, put that down there. But really think about your role. Think about what you actually got to deliver as your role. Yeah. Okay. Make sure you've got that stuff in their deliverables. All right. Just put that in there. And a lot of people that I talk to in a small IT services business don't really know the roles, and that's fine. Put some effort into find out what your roles are so you can be effective around that. It's really important, but just bear that in mind. The next part is the snapshot. Now, the snapshot is, it's about, once again, some of the personal things you want to do. All right. We don't want to end up working, everyone. We don't ever want to end up working forever. And, you haven't learned new things, or, haven't gone to any seminars, or, got any coaching, i.e. through us at Learning Growth, or, personal coaching, whatever it is. There is lots of learning and development opportunities out there. Get some of that stuff so it keeps you thinking, keeps you fresh. It might be some services update from a software company or something like that. Have your planning days in there, QBRs. Those are things that you want to have in there. QBRs, your quarterly business reviews, your yearly planning. Put that all in there. Team training. If you've got a little 2-3 guys around you, or 30 guys, you've got to train them. You've got to bring them on a journey. You've got to show them a vision. All right. And that's really important. Friends, hey, I'm not the only busy person in my life. Everyone's busy. All right. Everyone's under the pump to generate money to live in, expensive Australia or New Zealand, wherever you guys are from today. So we've got to make sure we actually book in some time with some of those friends. I've got a few things that I've booked in with my friends already for the year. I know what I'm doing. It's fantastic. 2 weeks, I'm off to a surf trip in August. It's in my calendar. Booked it in. Catch up with 6-7 guys, and we have awesome time. It's a bit of me time. I get refreshed. I'm like-minded people like-minded people on the surf trip. It's fantastic. Okay. What are the things you're doing around your friends, families, hobbies, birthdays? How often do people forget about someone's birthday close to them? Put it in your calendar. All right. Really important. And, once you've got all those things there, what we're going to do is just keep on writing those things down. Keep on writing them down. I'm going to show you how, the crunch comes through it at the end. So keep on writing those down. The next thing is the bucket list. Is there something that you really want to get done? Is there something that you really want to have? That you want to drive yourself to. Think about that. Put the list of those items down. Anything there that really drives you personally. It could be going away on the holidays. It could be skydiving. It could be buying a sports car and do racing track days. It could be going to play at the best golf courses around the world. What are those things that you want to put down there? All right. It could be working 2 days a week. It could be taking 5-6 weeks off every year over one period of time to go skiing in Europe. Whatever it is, let's put those things down so we can actually see what we can do and actually work out who can we delegate this stuff and what can we get out that we want to do. So it's dump or delegate. I'm sure that's pretty, and you can prioritize it. I'm sure that's pretty useful. I'm going to quickly show you this, guys. This is the next thing here. Sorry, from there to there is my calendar. That's my calendar. Now, there is at the bottom of the calendar a bit of a area of what actually happens in that calendar. So I've got their holidays. I've got their New South Wales school holidays because I'm based in Sydney. I've got the training that we do, a company training that we do for our own team. We've got the 6-week game plan, which we'll take our clients through all the time. Very powerful. We've got the intensive. Now, the intensive we just mentioned in March, those 2 half days. That's in there. I've got the intensives. There's an intensive there, intensive there, intensive there. There we go. There's an intensive, 29th and 30th of March. Bang, it's already in there. I don't have to think where it is. It's there. I have it all planned out. Now, I don't want to say I'm over the top and we're so focused on this calendar that we lose, creativity or the spur of the moment. The more you are actually in control of your calendar, the more time you'll actually have to have for yourself and more freedom you have. There's a whole lot of stats on this. All right. Now, the challenges, like everything else, we've got to do a stress test. So what's going to happen, folks, is you're going to go away and you're going to come up with your big rocks. I'm going to just tell you this because I can't take this through because it takes you a couple of hours to go through in detail. But you'll get this to do and you can do it yourself and it works perfectly. The big rocks. Now, we spoke about the big rocks up front. It's the big things, the big items that's going to change your business or your role. Right? We know that. Then it's the next thing is, all right, and it's the pebbles. Right? I'm going to color them all in. They're smaller than the big rocks for sure, but we've got to get them in there as well. Okay. And then what's going to happen after that in this demonstration is the sand. This is what happens. This is why we're doing the stress testing. Really important. Okay. This is your calendar. I'm going to create a jar. Now, there's a lot of these things on YouTube. If you go and check it out, they've got the bucket challenge. A scientist goes along and opens a bucket and he puts rocks, pebbles, and sand, and he puts it the wrong way around. And before you know it, certain things can't fill up. So if you put pebbles down, rocks, pebbles, and sand, you actually get more stuff in it that way. If you do it the other way around, you get less rocks in there. All right. It's actually quite interesting. But it's the same principle here. This is your bucket or your jar, as I call it. Your jar is your 40 hours a week for the whole year. Right? And what you try and do as humans is we don't have direction, we don't have time to execute, we're just running it from day to day, especially in IT services. So when I speak to my guys, I know when the guys are making money, I know when they're doing well. You know why? Because on Friday, afternoon, I might be chatting to one of them. Oh, I said, what's the weekend like? Oh, I've got this. It's awesome. It's planned. It's freaking sensational. I'm doing all these things. I go, shit, that's brilliant. 2 years ago, you wouldn't be doing that. 2 years ago, he's going, like, I've got work to do the weekend. I'm exhausted. I don't even know what's happening. My wife has planned my weekend. I have no clue. Right? Okay, well. And then if I'd speak to those type of people on the Monday, I say, hey, what's the week like? I have no clue. Like, show me a calendar. He just has mess all in his calendar. There's no rhythm. His staff need him. So the staff are just jumping in there and controlling his calendar versus the other way around. As the business owner or the leadership team member needs to control his calendar and the people below him. So he gets the outcome and he gets the results they need. This is what happens. When you do the stress test, you'll put all that stuff into the calendar, in that spreadsheet. You're going to go, holy, sorry to swear, shit, this thing does not fit into the calendar. It happens every time. All right. What's going to happen type of thing is you're going to grab all the stuff, okay, and you're going to try and throw it in to your calendar. And guess what, guys? It happens every time. It doesn't work. What actually happens is it just overflows. This is what you guys are doing all the time. I know this because one of the things I do is I check people's calendars out when they join us. And you know what? It's just chaos. I go, man, you don't know what you're doing. There's no rhythm. And that's important, to have a rhythm so you become good at those activities. You become brilliant at those activities. And that's where you hit those goals and those achievements. So that's what a calendar looks like. Really, really hell of important. All right, I'm going to have a breather for a second. Anyone lost? Have I gone too fast? I know it's a bit of there's a lot of detail in these slides, so you can take that away and you can actually implement this yourselves. Okay, any questions from that so far before we go into the last piece? Richard, I see you shaking your head in excitement or confusion.
I'm shaking my head because I've got no questions, mate.
Brilliant. Okay. All right. That's good to hear. I'm just going to quickly run through Peter, anything, Caroline, anything, Emma, anything.
I was just going to say, I don't know specific questions, but this session is just absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for running it. I'm getting so much out of it already. It's brilliant.
Emma, there's I've only got 10 minutes to the last piece, but the next piece really fits it all in as well. But we go through this and I'm religious on this. Like, because when you do an audit of the stop component of your calendar, you're going to realize, oh my, I'm doing shit that I should not be. I need to hire someone. That's really what happens. I need to hire someone that can leverage. Leverage is like one of the things I learned as a consultant when I was in the UK was right at the beginning. I was like 24. I was working for Deloitte, and I had a career path. And it was career path was become a technical solution guy, or become like a manager. And the guy sat down to me and said, Ian, I want you to become a manager. I go, well, that's great, but I want to become a technical guy. I want to do all these extra things. This was really exciting. He goes, no. I go, what do you mean? He says, you can always hire a technical guy, but you know a lot of tech stuff and you are good at it. We don't want you to go down that path. We want to go to the manager side. I said, well, why? He says, you've got to be able to leverage. If you can't leverage in consulting, you ain't going to freaking run a consulting business. And if you want to do that in 10 years' time, then that's what you got to do. And 5-6 years later, 120 people working for me in a consultancy firm in Australia in 4 locations, kicking out the park and enjoying it. And how do I do it is one of these things is key to it. Sets you up for freedom. Now, when I do this with people in a team of 6 or 7 people, I get 2 people go away and they just love it. I'll get like text messages at midnight, Emma, like, oh my gosh, this is great. I can't sleep. I'm getting this stuff done. And then I get the other 3 or 4 people out of the 6 going, I don't know where to start. So it's quite amazing how people love to plan. The organized people love this type of stuff because they want to get super organized and they really love it. And then you get some people that just don't want to get organized and just don't want to make the commitment to change. So when you do this in your calendar, I'm not saying go Monday, start this all off, bang. And, the whole world around you changes. It's a little bit difficult to do that way. What I would say is start it gradually, but within 2 to 3 weeks, you're fully into it. Fully into it. Okay. Next piece, if anyone else has got any questions, let's just carry on. Now, there is a little bit more to actually talk a bit about marketing. One of the other areas that I see, and it's closely aligned to this area, is the marketing for your business. So IT services businesses, they generally have a couple of areas they battle on. There are 9 keys. We focus on 9 keys, right, to make your IT services business hum and make cash, which everyone should be doing. And one of those keys is marketing. It's so fundamental that's the area that everyone's the worst at, because most people come to us as technology people. They've started a consultancy firm. The CEO or founder is gun. He's like a solution architect guy, and he's high-fiving. He knows what he's doing. He's going well. He's in charge. The challenge on the other side is they don't know how to do marketing. So that's why, we've got that whole VA business in Philippines helping these guys market it at a cost low level. But this next part of the session, for the next 5 minutes, we're going to talk a bit about a marketing calendar. So you take that spreadsheet, you put another tab on it, or create a whole spreadsheet, and you make that your marketing calendar. So what are the marketing activities you're going to do? We're going to run through that. All right. Really, really important that we want to get some of the stuff done. So have a marketing calendar, have a personal calendar, have a leadership calendar, have it all. You can have 3 or 4 different sheets if you want. It depends if it gets too busy and how big your team is and how big your company is. If it's small, just do it in 1. If it's mid to large, maybe 2, 3. If it's large, do it on like 4. Okay. I hope that helps. You got this deck, and it's important just to go through the stuff. This is like one of the training slides we go through all the time. And then here we say, what are activities you're going to be doing around your marketing? User conferences, drinks, networkings, dinners with clients, community events, supporting events. Some do supporting events with clients for a charity. Brilliant. Or raise for funds for good causes with the clients. A lot of people love doing that. Love a bit of a purpose to give back to their community or to their clients' community, which is really, really important. Okay. A lot of things here that you want to actually start to say, hey, who's owning this activity? Is it me? Great. All right. When we're doing it, okay, is there. And, what's the role of the activity? What's the ownership of it? How is it going to become and defined? We do the same thing for the next piece. So it's sort of different from the stop, start, continue component. This is just some of the priorities that a marketing function or a process in your small business should be doing. Now, you can't do everything, folks. Okay, so just pick the ones that you either love doing or going to give you the best bang for buck, right? So sporting events, I used to do the rugby all the time. I used to take clients to Sydney, Melbourne. I love rugby, so why not hook it all into what I love? And I used to do that when I had my consultancy firm. I used to have one of the consultants with me. He used to run around, get drinks, food, and everything else. And we had 10 to 15 clients. We used to do it every year, and the clients would love it. Okay, really love it. So just get into a routine of something that you want to do as well, if possible. The weekly client machine is a process we've developed for our clients. And it's a content factory, as it says there. It's about taking content, repurposing it, and using it in multiple ways. That's quite level. It's mid-level maturity around that. It's not really small. It's maybe mid-sized business to get that working. But the guys that do that have great success. Webinars, rankings, MDF is marketing development funds. If you're a services partner and you're working with a AWS or a Microsoft or SAP, Oracle, IBM's, they have marketing development funds. If you're a good enough partner, they will give you money if you show them the value that you're going to bring to something that you want to do. Does that make sense? Lots of things you could tap into there, but you can't just knock on the door and ask them for that fund, 2 weeks before you want to do a campaign. It takes you 6 months. That's why you need a plan. You sit down there, you show the marketing plan, say, hey, Mr. Microsoft, I've got this, or Mr. AWS, I've got this happening. I would love you to be in this campaign or that campaign. Which one would you like to be in? How can you support me? Okay, that's great. We'll do this. That's what you need to do. You need to talk to your sales team and say, hey, sales team or salesperson, I've got these I've got these activities happening. I want to make sure with these activities, I've got a sales support person to actually make that work. So don't forget, I didn't draw this funnel, but there's actually 2 funnels. One's marketing. Sorry, my big pen's in there, running out of time. One's marketing and one's CRM. This is where you get people from webinars, events, campaigns to pop in here. They're cold. All right. And they slowly get warmer and warmer. And when they get warm, you grab them here and you throw them in to your real CRM. And that's when you convert them. And that's where you make money. That's the whole purpose of it. It is separate. Sometimes if you're very small, it's some guy doing everything. That's fine. But just have 2 mindsets around it. Have 2 activities. So in your calendar, you might say, hey, once every 2 weeks, I'm going to do some content around marketing. And then 5 times a week, you're actually doing some sales activity. So that's what you would have in your preloaded calendar. If you're like a small business, that's the type of thing you need to have. Okay. There's a lot of things there that you can go through. Joint events with partners, really awesome. Anyway, probably it's on 1 o'clock. I want to just jump off there because I know everyone's under the pump and wants to get back to their day job. Okay. So just want to say, how are we going? Any questions there, folks? Any questions? I know it was a bit of a fast session. It's recorded. You can watch the replay. You can book in a 45-minute strategy call. I don't know if Jane Lee or someone there can drop that link in there if you want to catch up and go through it a bit more in detail. Appreciate your time, guys.